Welcome to Epic Stage Journeys and Then Some. And now, here's your host, Gavin.
Hey, what's up, y'all? I got a good one today. We're going back to La La Land. We have to go back out there and say hi to an old friend. Let me dump this real quick. There we go. This lady sitting, she's really not sitting next to me, but her picture is next to me. Her name is Alicia Robbins. And she and I worked together. The first time we worked together was at NAM, and I believe it was 2009, if you can believe it's been that long ago. Now, Alicia was one of my camera operators, and she was she was young. She didn't know a whole lot. It was, the stuff that I had to teach her, I taught her how to make sure properly frame stuff, get, good headroom but I didn't tell a lot of people, and I don't think she even knew this. I kind of had a crush on her. And I don't know why, I don't know what happened, but I had a crush on her, and she was just that type of person. And so I was at home one day in the office, and I saw somewhere that she had gotten married. And it was like heartbreaking. She got married. I was like, well, how could she do that? And so I'm sitting here, and I'm just drowning in my sorrows. And then my wife comes in and interrupts me. She goes, "What are you doing?" And I was like going, "Nothing. I'm not doing anything. Never mind." I said I was just thinking about an old friend. But anyway, she is a very dear friend. And what I just told you is a bunch of bullshit. None of that ever happened. It never happened. But I had to do it. But Alicia,
Hey, I'm
are
flattered
you?
either way, if it's real
Hey,
or
Eva,
not.
how are you doing?
Good.
You
Really good.
you look wonderful. Thank you for
Thank
coming on. I
you.
really appreciate you taking time. I know
Yeah.
you've been busy, miss big time. Okay, so you went from camera operator, and then you started becoming a director of photography, did you not? Or
Well,
something of that.
I was already DPing when I
Uh-huh.
was camera operating for you. So like when I wasn't doing AV work, I was also DPing on the side, but a lot of it was low budget indie features, sometimes reality documentary. So I had actually been DPing since about 2003. So
Okay.
yeah, but I guess I didn't really talk about my cinematography career that much when I was doing the AV work because I mean because it didn't I was there to do my job obviously with you, so I don't think I really talked about it that much, but I was always shooting and pursuing narrative work during that time.
Well, you always did a great job for us, and everybody. Again, I taught her nothing except how to
I'm
just
sure you taught me something. You
you
probably taught me a better way
how
to
to
wrap a BNC.
be a goofball or something. I don't, but I had to do that for some reason. 'Cause I know I always messed with you guys when we were on
Yep,
site, and it was fun. And you guys
we
always took
loved it.
everything. You guys always took it in great
Well,
strides,
because
and
we mess
so
with you back.
I know
So,
it was always a back and forth thing. So it had to be that. So
yeah.
what were they when you being a DP and everything, when did you get into like start stepping up into the more known stuff?
Yeah, that wasn't until 2018. So, I mean, it took a while to finally get my foot in the door. And
Hmm.
that was for a show called For the People, which was actually a Shondaland show, so Shonda Rhimes. And I got a C camera operator position on that where I would also bump up to be the cinematographer when the main DP had to go on location scouts or do meetings and stuff like that. So I would bump up as the DP on that. So that's kind of like my big break.
Hmm.
Because from there, being in that Shondaland world, they saw my abilities, and that's when Grey's Anatomy was looking for an additional cinematographer to come in and alternate with their main DP, and they called me to come over to start shooting Grey's Anatomy. So that's where it's like it took off from
Oh.
there. But yeah,
Hmm.
so that was, I mean, when we worked together 2009, this was 2018, so it was almost 10 years later that I finally
Wow.
got that break. Yeah.
And you hung in there with it, and
Oh
that's
yeah,
that's
you have to.
I would think
too.
so. Now, what's going on right now in over in Hollywood? I talked to somebody the other day.
I'm
We were
already
talking about
laughing.
we we were talking about um a show that he was doing out in LA. And
Hmm.
I said, how's it going? He said, well, I said, are you seeing a lot of new people? Because, I retired last year and
Yeah.
I didn't do much in 23, 22. I think I did 15 events in 22, but that's when they let everybody go back and the gates open, the
Hmm.
floodgates open, and everybody wanted to get back to shows. And
Yep.
I think I did like 15, about killed myself that year.
Yeah, it's a
And
lot.
I caught COVID and did all kinds of fun stuff. And then 23 just kind of went, but the
Yeah.
the
It,
company I was working for, I don't mention names or anything, but the company I
yeah.
was working for then was when we got laid off in 20, and then we did nothing in like 21, that wasn't anything in 20. I think I did one thing in 21. But
Hmm.
I was doing virtual stuff. I was doing stuff like I was doing
Hmm.
Zoom and all that stuff. And then when the gates opened and they brought us back as contract labor. They didn't bring
Hmm.
us back full time. They brought us back as contract labor.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, hey, this is cool. I'm getting paid overtime now, and I'm getting paid this, and I'm getting paid that. And I was like going, I don't know why the hell didn't do this earlier. And so then they realized that they were paying us a lot of money.
Yeah.
And so then I think the pencil pushers came back and said no, and I don't know, I probably pissed somebody off anyway, but and then 23 was nothing, 24 was, and by then 24 hit and I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Hmm.
My body's done.
Hmm.
And you know, I
It's
was in the
slow here. I mean, because you're talking about the AV world as well as the film world has been very slow ever since the writers actors strike. It's been a double whammy. So it's been COVID with the shutdown,
uh,
and then the actor writer strike shut everything down again.
yes,
And it really hasn't bounced back. And I know that affects anything media related. So that's going to
yes,
be your documentary, reality, narrative, AV, everything. And so it really hasn't bounced back since the strike was over. And yeah, I have a lot of friends and colleagues that are getting out of the industry completely right now. So it's not
really,
even about like, oh, let's relocate to New York where there's more work. It's not that at all.
it's
They're
not
just
not happening there.
it's not really happening. It's not bustling anywhere right now because it feels like there's this big shift in how media is run and no one knows where it's going. And I think even producers are scared to start new projects and new shows because no one really knows where it's going. And so it's like this standstill that has happened. And you could either I've been fortunate enough where I've actually worked overseas quite a bit over the last few years. And so I mean I feel like I'm lucky in that sense that I have had pretty consistent work over the last few years, but
I
that is
got
just not the
that.
case. Yeah.
Yeah, the story I was telling you before, I rambled off somewhere, but the friend I was talking to on the show, he told me he was seeing, he said, he goes, there's a lot of new faces. And I said, what's up? And he goes, there are a lot of people that are like TV and film or movie type
Coming
people
over.
they're
Yep.
doing on that on the corporate side because there's no other
Yep.
work on the other side. And I went, oh, I,
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
had no idea. I had heard that it was kind of squirrely, but now, back in the, because I was going to ask you, what you were working on, because I thought you were working on that show, like maybe like Swamp People or Naked and Afraid or 90 Day
Ah!
Fiance or something like that. But
Naked and
I,
afraid. Yes.
what in the hell's gone wrong with TV? Can somebody please tell me? Um,
Yeah.
But yeah, he told me, he said, I'm seeing a lot of TV and film people on this side because there's just nobody's working.
Yeah.
And I had heard now, um, like what was that show where, oh, I forget what it was. I can't remember the name of it. All of a sudden, everybody goes out and they stand on a square, and then they compete with each other and try to
Was
get.
it the Beast Games?
No, 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 it wasn't the
Because
Beast
I watched
Games.
that. That was amazing. It was like the best game show ever.
It
Um,
was they yeah, it was
Stand
like
on a
100 people and
square.
they all stood on a square, and then
Uh-huh.
one person, they'd pick one person and he would challenge another person, and every square was there what they knew about trivia wise. And so they competed against each
Oh.
other. But I found out later on, I was reading about it one day, they shot that in Ireland.
Oh,
Uh,
it's possible. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, they
a lot
weren't
has
they
gone over to the UK and Ireland area and Europe.
yeah.
Um, there's not, there aren't, well, it's a different scenario with unions over there. So production companies often can get better deals on crew if they take it overseas.
Well,
So,
what they had said was they said it was cheaper to fly everybody out to Ireland and do the show there.
yeah.
And I don't know how long they're out there for, what, maybe 30 days, if that, if
Hmm.
I know it doesn't take that long, but and they said it was cheaper to do that, fly everybody out there, do the show there than to do it
Hmm.
in LA, in Hollywood.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
it's cheaper.
Well, because we have
I thought,
union here, and
yeah.
the union rates, meeting those union rate cards, and the demands from the union are very expensive for production. What,
Oh,
because I'm union, and what's really sad about that is I've been union for years.
I
I
know
was
you.
union when I was
I
working
know you were union.
with you. I've been union since
Look at me, I'm
2007.
union. Yeah.
But what's crazy though is that the rate card for what and I don't want to talk bad about producers or production companies, but I can a little bit because this is where our gripe is. The rate card for paying people is not astronomical. It is absolutely a reasonable rate of what they're asking for in Hollywood for the union rate card. And getting paid less than what that union rate card is, it wouldn't be a livable wage in California. So it's almost like LA has the infrastructure and the great crew here. I'm sure Ireland has some amazing crew too. And I think it's probably one of those things where they try to decide on, okay, do we need the absolute best crew on the planet to do this show? And maybe if they don't, then they can choose a place that doesn't have like such a large pool of people. Like that's the thing about LA. We have so many really qualified people here. But if
Yeah.
you're just doing the one show in wherever this was in Ireland, you're doing the one show there, so you're getting to use all the really good people that are there in that town, then it might make sense for them. Um,
Yeah, I was real
yeah,
surprised.
I don't know.
I didn't realize that it was going on. It was getting so crazy out there. And I had read that they
Yeah,
shot that thing in Ireland. I went, wow. And I thought that's got to be pricey. And then they said, no, I read more. It's like they could fly everybody out there, all 100
yeah,
of the contestants, because they're all out there together. And they said that it didn't cost near what it would have cost to bring everybody
yeah.
to LA.
And
And
there's
I
a
thought,
lot going to
interesting.
London and UK as well,
Really?
because they do have the crew and the infrastructure there. So, and they are getting a better deal on crew in places like London. So, and you got the beautiful backdrop of Europe. So it's kind of like, oh,
True. Yeah, you got that. So.
but we have the weather here. That's amazing. I just shot in London over the winter, so it's like, oh, I love my LA weather.
Oh, I bet that was a little cold over there.
It was
Um,
just raining all the time. It was gray and raining, and so it was really hard to do our exterior work.
so you did Grey's Anatomy was the first big one. So where did you go after that?
So I did 2 years of Grey's Anatomy, and then I went on to do a mini series for Netflix called Keep Breathing. And then after Keep Breathing, I had a couple little sporadic things. I did like an episode for FBI was Most Wanted, and then Bridgerton was after that. So, and I've done 2 seasons of Bridgerton now. And in between my seasons of Bridgerton, I ended up doing this season 2 of Quantum Leap for NBC, which was the reboot Quantum Leap.
Uh,
And yeah, I just wrapped up season 4 of Bridgerton in May. So I'm off right now trying to figure out
so
what my next
now are they going to
gig
do
is.
another? Are they going to do another
Yeah,
season of
Bridgerton's
Bridgerton?
already been renewed for 2 more seasons, so we know it's going back for season 5 and 6.
Okay, so where do you guys shoot? Do you go to England to shoot Bridgerton?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm there for 7 months. I get like a break in the middle. So I get about a month off in the middle, and so I'll come home for that month, but I'm gone for about 7 months total.
And you get to come home and see that husband.
And my cats.
What? Oh, you're a cat. That's right. You're a cat lady. I forgot about that. Yep. Mhm.
I know. My husband's like, she misses the cats more than me. I know it. It's like,
What?
well,
What's
I
your
can
What's your husband's
FaceTime with
name?
you, David.
David. Okay.
Yeah.
I've seen pictures of y'all. Y'all make a great couple, by the way. Y'all are
I
just.
feel like you guys could have met somewhere because he was working in the AV world for a while, but I guess
I don't.
not.
I don't think. I don't think so.
No.
'Cause
No, maybe not.
What's his last name? Smith.
Smith.
It
Yeah.
was David Smith.
David
That.
Smith. Yeah, right. Just Google that. Yeah, because we had all mutual friends in
Mhm.
our circles and stuff. So, because I've known him since I came out here. I've known him for over 23 years now.
Okay. Now, where did you live before you went out to LA?
I grew up in Alabama.
Oh, you're not okay. You're a Southern
Yeah.
girl. Come on now. What are you doing moving out to? Well, you had to move out to LA. You were you're too good
I
not to be in
I
LA. So
came
come
out
on.
here. I went to grad school, so I came out here to go to AFI for grad school, and then I stayed because, yeah, obviously for film industry and stuff, I wasn't going back to Trussville, Alabama. So
Come on back to Alabama now. It's not too bad.
no, I like my California weather, but yeah,
Where'd you get your undergrad? Where'd you go to
Vanderbilt,
college?
Vanderbilt
Vanderbilt.
University
Oh,
in
okay.
Nashville. Yeah. So still stayed in the
Miss
South.
Miss Uppity thing at Vanderbilt.
I was on
Ah,
student loans, thank you very much. Student loans and
did you get them paid off?
yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it took a long time. Oh my God, that and my grad school, all student loans. So that took a
Oh,
long time.
oh my God. I bet it did. Yeah, my wife
Yeah.
had a student loan and and I don't know what happened. She didn't have it all paid off and they came back at us and said, "Hey, you still owe this amount of money." I'm like, going, "What is this?" And she goes,
Oh,
"Oh, that's a student loan I had for," and I said, "For what?" And I don't remember what she was doing, but I had to pay that damn thing off. It wasn't a lot. It was
yeah.
only a few $1,000s, but it was like going, geez, I couldn't have,
Oh, mine was awful.
I didn't take out student loans when I went to school. I just, well, I had the money. My dad had passed away, I think my dad died when I was like 14, I think, or 15. And so his Social Security went to me, and
Oh,
so it went
okay.
to me because I was of still under the age that I could get it. My sister was too old; she couldn't get it anymore. I couldn't get it, but I got it. So my mom took all that money and just put it in an account, and that was my college money.
That's great. That's good.
Yeah, well, um, uh, my mom told me one day. Somebody asked me, "Did Gavin go to college?" She said, "Oh yeah." "What do you major in?" She said, "Drinking and ass chasing." And I went, and I said, "She knew. How did she know?" No, that
She had
she
spies.
she always did. And I never, you know what? I never graduated. I was going to school. I went to Louisiana Tech, and then I transferred out I came to the DFW area, and I went to North Texas State University after that. And I just I was too involved in everything else that was going on.
Yeah.
You know, it, and I had that that conversation that one day where you call your mom and dad and have the conversation of, I think I'm gonna take this semester off. I just need to
Yeah.
rest up and get my mind set and everything. And after that, I was gone. It never
Yeah.
never went
I
back.
mean,
And
you don't really need like so for me, I wanted an MFA because I wanted the fallback plan of potentially being a college professor. And I knew that having that MFA under my belt was one of the necessary things to be a professor at a college. So it's like, I'm going to go ahead and do that anyway. And I feel like I'll learn a lot from it. Yes, I was in student loan debt from it. But actually going back to my husband, he didn't graduate from college either. And it's like, and he's very much in that tech world and engineering side of things. And it's like he was just figuring it out on his own anyway. So some people just
Yeah.
don't need that structured system. For me, I was always kind of a school nerd, even growing up. And so I knew I wanted to go to college and I wanted to get an MFA and like that was always kind of part of the plan.
Now, what was an
Um,
MFA?
Master's. So I have a master's in
Oh, okay.
cinematography. Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
and so I can use that. And of course, AFI was a great school. I learned so much from AFI. Like I owe a lot of my success to going there, but it was also about having that master's degree in case I wanted to be a college professor. So, yeah.
I had no idea you were that educated. I
Because I
thought,
act like an idiot on those AV shows. We're all
I said,
goofing off.
who is this poor mindless camera operator that I've got? And I was trying to think,
Because I'm a goofball. I'm just a goofball.
who was the other one that was lady girl that was working with us? I just,
Oh,
you know what?
I'm having a brain fart right now.
I think she still may be doing it, or she was shooting with them for a while on that one. I think
Yes.
I think I got off of it. Like I did it for like 3 or 4 years, and then I got out of it because one of my other shows, my events, which was the Elks National Convention, all of a sudden they overlapped each other, and
Mm.
I had too much time in with the Elks, and so they said, no, you can't jump the Elks. We're going to move you off of NAM because NAM had shifted. Um, they shifted summer is what they did. They went in and did summer NAM earlier, and so it messed
Uh,
it all up. Is because I did winter and summer, and it messed it up. And so they took me off of NAM and they gave it to somebody else. And I thought, damn, I lost NAM, but
yeah,
it
I liked
happened.
working NAM. I loved it. And my parents are musicians, so it was fun getting to do that show. I always looked
That was
forward to
great.
it.
I loved doing that. I loved doing
Yeah.
NAM. NAM was
And we
fun.
were always in the main ballroom getting to
Mhm.
shoot the main stage, which was all that was because the guests up there were amazing.
I,
Huge
I
artists. So that was always really
I
cool.
always tell the story about Gene Simmons, and people go, people always tell, would always go, oh, I bet he was a jerk. I bet. And I said, you know what? He was the nicest guy on the planet. He was so
Yeah.
cool. But
Uh-huh.
when they introduced him and he went out, and I don't know if you remember this or not, but he went onto the stage. He shook hands with Joe Lamond, the CEO for NAM at the time. I don't know if he is or not anymore, but and then he just ran it. He just walked and jumped off the end of the stage and started interviewing people at the audience. And
I don't remember
Joe,
that.
Joe's, his little, the girl that was Joe's assistant, she runs up to me and she's got this look of terror in her eyes. And she goes, he just jumped off the stage. What do we do? And I said, just watch the monitor. We're not doing
Film it.
anything. We're just going to run with it.
Yeah.
And he did, and then he did his thing out there, and he got back up on stage, and he did the interview. But you're right. I mean, we had a lot of cool people that
Yeah.
came on and did that. People, they'll come in my office and they'll see some of the pictures. They go, "My God, who's that?
Yeah.
Really?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, we got to work with them, and it was just." And I know you've worked with all kinds of people. You've probably worked with a hell of a lot more cooler people than I have,
I don't
because
know. I feel like getting into when you're in that event world, you're meeting some really heavy hitters in terms of any industry. So that's what's so fascinating about, and that's actually one thing that I liked about doing the event world was getting to watch new speakers and learn new content that I never even thought I would be interested in. So
Mhm.
I always try to pay, as a camera operator, I was always trying to pay attention to what was being said on the stage rather than just like, okay, I know I need to follow this person. I would actually try to pay attention to what they were saying, unless we were chattering on headset all the time, because that would sometimes
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah, that's
If it was a boring person up there, it's like, okay, let's just talk to each other.
hey, I can tell you this, if Dean was calling the show, y'all were chattering a lot on the headset.
Oh,
So
yes. Yeah, there
you
was a
you
lot of
gotta love him.
chatting.
You gotta love
Yeah.
him. I do.
Like
I
there's no
have not
paying
talked
attention to the speaker.
I have not spoken to him, and it's been so long. And there's a lot of people that
Oh,
I do miss. I do. You know what? I can say this. I miss the people that I worked with. I've worked with so many great people. I mean, across the United States and Canada and everything.
yeah.
And there were so many great people that we worked with, and I do miss that. I do one thing I don't miss is I do not miss the travel. I that
Yeah.
once once I got laid off and I came home and Tracy goes, "Oh, you're going to be home all the time, aren't you?" And I went, "Yep." And and I know you probably know this too because you guys, when you're gone for, and especially you, because you're really gone for long periods of time, you
Hmm.
you develop this lifestyle, or not a lifestyle, how you operate really.
Hmm.
And when I came home, I really messed her up because
Yeah.
she was used to certain things, and I would come in and do so, and she goes, "Oh, you're here." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm still here. I'm not
Yep.
going
We're
in."
like a Tasmanian devil in the house.
It was a challenge there for a little bit because we had to kind of get used to this again because I was gone a lot, and when I
Yeah.
was home, and I said, "Well, you're gonna have to call all the boyfriends up and tell them I'm home." So hate to
It
mess you
is
up, but
tricky. It's tricky being
it
away for
is.
that long and then together for a long time. Because like, and that's how we are. Because I'll be gone for months and then I'll be
Uh,
home for months and then gone for months again. So it is an adjustment period that always takes place in between.
oh yeah,
Fortunately, he doesn't work out of the house, so I get the house kind of to myself when I'm back home. And so we're not like on top of each other all the time. So that I think is helpful, but it's also making sure that he remembers that I'm back. Because when I'm not home, he's like in work mode and he'll work weekends and everything. So
uh,
it's like, no, your wife is home now. You need to make time for me. All right.
oh, stop it! You're
So we
starting to
have
sound like you're sounding like my wife now.
well,
Stop
it's true
it.
because it's like the weekends because he's so used to working through the weekends, and it's like, "What do you wanna do this weekend?" He's like, "Oh, right, it's a
Oh yeah,
weekend."
exactly.
Like, "I wanna
Yeah,
go to
well,
the beach, I wanna do this," and
see, my wife, her shop is on our property, and so I
Mhm,
mean, we live on 2 acres, but we decided that it was, instead of renting some place for her to run her business, I said, we'll just do it here. So
yeah,
we built a building on the property, and that's her place now, and so
yeah.
she's here all the time.
That's ideal. Honestly, that is something that we've thought about doing for many years. The trick is, I feel like we would have to move out of California to make that achievable for us, because he
Yeah.
needs a big workshop space to do what he needs to do with his company.
What does he
And
do?
so he owns a company called Plate Pros, and he does array footage for background plates for either driving scenes or set extensions for films and things like that.
Okay.
So yeah, he's building camera arrays, so like 360 arrays, and he's always having to build new camera systems and modify it, and he's building them onto vehicles, so he usually needs a garage space that he can build onto a car and I mean he works for some really big productions and stuff doing that, but he does need that workshop space. And we have talked about like wouldn't it be great if we could have a house that we could actually build the workshop, but trying to find that much room, because I think we'd also need about at least an acre. Finding that in Los Angeles?
Yeah, good luck.
I mean,
Hey,
like we can't afford that. So we'd have to jump ship and move somewhere else to do that. So right now
it
he's
is
still in a workshop that he
the
rents.
you'd be surprised that even here now, I mean, before, I mean, land wasn't that bad, but now it's just gotten crazy out here. Well,
Yeah.
it's because all you guys out in California are moving out here, and y'all need to knock it off because you're driving all the prices up.
Because we need more land. We need more
Mm.
land because now it's just hillsides that you can build on, and that is so difficult to build into a hillside. Like
Oh,
that's not going to work for
that
us
would cost a fortune to do that.
so
Uh,
much. So you're
uh,
buying the proper, yeah. That's not gonna happen. So right now, we're okay with him renting the workshop because currently we don't see how we can leave Los Angeles, honestly. So he rents a workshop and then I travel wherever my job is. Sometimes that's in town, sometimes it's not. Lately it's been mostly out of town. And yeah, and then we'll see how the next few years go and decide if we're staying in Los Angeles or are we going somewhere else where we could build his workshop. And yeah, I don't know. It's all like in limbo. For so many people, it's in limbo right now. If you're in the film
Yeah.
industry or the AV world and everything, it's in limbo and it's very difficult because it's normally we're always like, "Oh, it'll pick back up. It'll be great. We just got to give it some time." Da da da. And that's usually the attitude that most people have had for years. That isn't the attitude anymore because no one really knows. And that's really scary. So I have mentees, like younger upcoming cinematographers that I have tried to like coach and mentor over the years. And now when I have mentees, it's really hard for me to be like, "Oh, just hang in there. Just stay focused." Da, 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 because I don't know what's going to happen. Like
Kind of
the
like what I
advice,
told you back in the day. I told you, hang in there, don't give up. You're
yeah.
gonna be okay.
But
Remember?
now it's like, hang in there, don't give up. You'll be okay. I don't know if that's true or not.
No.
That's what's
Uh,
so sad about it. It's like you have to just now choose, and this is actually something I talked to my one of my main like mentees right now. I said you just have to choose whether or not the film industry is worth it for you. Like knowing that there's a chance that you may never make it because we don't know where it's going, but
yeah.
is it something that you're so passionate about that you can't do anything else? Like if there's something else in your head that you think that you're interested in that you can do, that you will be passionate about, then maybe that's the route you should take. But like
Well,
for
that's
me, there was nothing else besides filmmaking.
you knew what you want to do. Well, it's
Yeah.
kind of like that with me too. It was, I got into it in I think in college. You know, well, it was before that, even in high school. I played in bands, and we did all that. And it was always in some form of entertainment. And then
Hmm.
when I went to college, I my sister got me into the radio station, and I was a DJ at the radio station. And then I worked at night. I worked in a bar at night making money, and that
Hmm.
was the mistake that I made right there, was when I went to the
For
bar
being in
business.
a bar.
But
Too easy. Just
well,
so.
it was weird. I just uh, I got offered the gig, and the guy goes, I said, what do you want me to do? He goes, you'll just sit at the door and take money as people come in. And I said, okay. And I found out really fast that girls like to be let into the bar for free.
Ah.
Ah, and I got,
Yes.
and I was like, "Oh, hey, darling, how are you today? No, you go on in. You don't get any money." And then they moved me behind the bar. I learned how to do that, and I found out another thing: girls like to drink for free too. So, yeah, yeah. See,
That is true.
I'm not that far off. And then one night, the DJ doesn't show up. And the owner comes to me and he goes, Gavin. And I said, yeah. And he goes, you work at the radio station, don't you? And I said, yeah. And he goes, well, you got a DJ tonight because the DJ's in here. And I was like, hold on, time out. These are two different animals. I don't do clubs. I do. He goes, you got to go. And so I went up there and learned all that. And
Wow.
then I became a club DJ for, oh God, I did that for a long time. But I
Oh
also,
my gosh. Well, I'm
I
glad I
also
get thrown
found
in.
out, I found out that girls like to go to the DJ booth too. I was in a win-win situation the whole time. No, I did. I was a club DJ for many
Hence
years.
your mom thinking that your college education money was spent on
Mhm.
drinks and girls.
Yep. I,
She didn't need a spy. Like she
no,
knew
she didn't need
exactly
to
what was
start.
going on.
She knew me too well. She knew me better than that. So,
Oh my gosh, that's
but
funny.
yeah, it kind of went from that. I did that. I ran live music venues and stuff, and my thing was I loved that I was very passionate about it. I just loved the fact that I knew I was the fact that, I could work on a deal. Like I'll use, we did, Yale University, we did their tercentennial celebration. And we did it at the Yale Bowl, the football stadium there at the school. And we it was like it was a one night event, and it took us, I think it took us like over a week to get that thing set, because we built this monstrosity of a set and all this stuff. And you work all these hours, and I mean, but you could work 15, 16, 17 hours that day, and you just feel like you're going to fall over and die. But when the lights go down and the stage lights came up, it was like all that went away. You felt nothing. It was like I'm alive again. And it was
Yeah.
like I'm awake. I'm very, and after that, doing that and all the shows that I did, in the venues and all the concerts and stuff, and it was like that was my thing. That was the drug. I mean, it was like you
Mhm.
you just got that surge, and so that's where I kind of fell for it. And but I just knew it. And even when I was going to college, I felt like I was going to college for the wrong things. I wanted to be in radio, television, and film.
Yeah.
And but my parents were in the oil and gas business, so my stepdad, but I called him my bonus dad, but he said, he goes, you need to go, probably need to go learn petroleum engineering or something so you can help with the business. And I went,
Ooh.
okay. And
Oh.
so I started in petroleum engineering, and I thought, I don't want to do this. And
Yeah.
then I moved to computer science, and I was like, I don't really don't want to do this either.
So
And
different.
And I was so wrapped up in everything else that was going on with, working at the bar, with the radio station, all that stuff. And I said, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
And when I moved to DFW, it was, that's where everything just kind of blew up. And I
Yeah.
started, I became a production assistant, and I was doing concerts, and I'd tell, I'm so proud of it still to this day. People look at me like I'm crazy. I'm going, the very first concert I did as a production assistant when I got here was Run DMC and the Beastie Boys.
Oh, fun.
And
Oh,
people go, what? And I was
that's
like, yeah, it
cool.
was. I swear to God.
Yeah.
A friend of mine got me into it. He goes, hey, we need another PA. You want to come do this? And I said, yeah, sure. And then, after that, it was, worked at the LL Cool J. I got to work with, I did the Budweiser Superfest and worked with all those bands, and it just, and I was in love. I was like, this is where I want to be. This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And it just stayed on with that. So I get where
Very
you're coming
different
from.
than petroleum
A
engineering.
little bit. Yeah, just a tad bit.
Very
Just a
different.
tad bit. But, people,
Yeah.
people will ask me questions all the time about, because my mother still has the business, and she doesn't do anything anymore. She's getting to the point where she's not, she's
Yeah.
at the point where she's just wants to be crotchety and not do a whole lot. But she, but she'll keep getting letters from these oil companies, because my mother still owns overrides and and stuff over through Louisiana and stuff, and she'll keep getting letters all the time. People are making her offers for her overrides.
Wow.
And my dad, my bonus dad, before he passed away, he said, you never get rid of your overrides, and you hang on to your mineral rights if you've got them. And I said, okay. And so I get calls, she'd get calls, and so I'd have to call these people back. And I said, what can I help you with? They said, well, we'll see if you want to sell these mineral rights. We'll sell your overrides. And I said, no. Well, but you're not. And I said, look, I promised my dad a long time ago that these would never be sold, and so they're not going to be sold.
Yeah.
And I mean, they've offered money where I'm going,
Ah! Your dad's like,
I,
maybe I changed my mind.
because she'd bring me letters, and I'd see some of these offers that I said, they offered you $500,000 for just that, and she said, yep. And I said, they're getting ready to drill.
Oh,
And so when they do that, it's kind of like we get these letters that they want to buy overrides and stuff, and
yeah.
I'll go, and I was always tell her, I said, they're getting ready to drill. If they're wanting to buy them, they're getting ready to drill.
Yeah.
So if they drilled and if they hit oil she's still making money off the override, so she's still getting a percentage, so she's all
Yeah,
right.
she's good.
Yeah, she's the poorest rich woman I've ever met, and I'll tell you what,
Oh man.
she goes,
Yeah.
"What we we just we just built another place on the other side of our house." My mother lives on 4 acres, and she's just 5 minutes down the road, but it was like, it's getting to be too much for her, and she called me
Oh,
one day, she goes, "This is getting to be too much," and she goes, "I think I'm gonna buy a house," because we live out in the county, we don't live in the city limits, and she goes,
yeah.
"I think I'm gonna move back into town," and I said, "No, you're not. You're not gonna do that."
It
I
could be
I I
fun
said
though.
I said, "You're gonna hate it," and she thought about it, and she said, "I'm sorry, my phone's turned on. I just broke the vital rule of kill your phone. But anyway, so I said no, and I said, come build you a place next to the house. We've got this huge open section of land on the other side of our house, and so we built her a place over there, and she's moving in there now. So
Oh, that's cool.
mom's gonna be right next door,
Oh.
and my wife is just so excited. Actually, my mother likes my wife more than she likes me now. It's
That
funny
happens.
because my mother was a typical mother. She didn't like any of my girlfriends, none of them. I don't care who you were, she didn't like any of my girlfriends. And she didn't like my wife at the beginning. She did not. And then they got into it one day, and man, that was ugly. But I just stayed out of it.
Uh-oh.
I just backed off because
Yeah.
my wife started it.
Oh.
My mother was mad about something and said something and walked out, and my wife goes, "I'm not gonna take this anymore." And I was going and I said she goes, "I'm gonna just go tell her what I think," and I'm thinking and I said, Yeah, you go ahead and do that. Go ahead and do that."
No.
And she did, and oh my god,
Oh,
they got into a hell of an argument.
I
But you
would
know what?
not.
After that, they were best friends.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, yeah, and that's my mother's other daughter now. She and me, mm-mm. If anything happens and my wife goes to my mother about something, I'm at fault. I'm in trouble. I'm the one that's in fault, so,
That's nice. I like that.
oh, yeah, I love it. It's great. Get that phone call and say, "What'd you do now?"
See, my mother-in-law, she's across the country, so I mean, we have a good relationship, but she lives in Virginia, so I don't see her that much.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
She is kind of out there.
Well,
You got
David is originally from Virginia, so also Southern boy. But yeah. But yeah, she's in Richmond, so I don't see her. And my parents are still in Alabama. So I do go home pretty often to go see them. So I'm in the South quite a bit.
okay, well, you still get back over this way every once in a while.
Yeah. I mean, you're halfway.
I'm
I'm
halfway.
going all the way.
I'm halfway.
I'm usually stopping through Texas to get home.
Gotta stop at Buc-ee's when you come through Texas. Come on. Have you not been
It's
to
always
Buc-ee's?
just no.
You have not been. Oh, if you're ever in Texas, you've got to go to Buc-ee's. You
Okay.
will, but bring a credit card or a checkbook or something because you're gonna spend money.
Oh, okay.
Bucky
Next
Bucky's
time.
is Bucky's is a big giant gas stations that they built here in Texas,
Okay.
and they are massive. And you go inside, and you can find anything and everything that you want in Bucky's.
I
You
feel
can order.
like I've done the cross country road trip before. I feel like I might have popped into one going through Texas.
You
Because there's
know, if you've been
also
in a
okay, because there's also I don't think it's Bucky's. There's another one that's also just like, what is
yeah,
this place? It's like a whole mall.
there's a couple of them, but Bucky's just came over and just took it over, and I mean
Oh, okay.
it was nuts.
All right, next
But
time I'm doing a cross country road trip, which does happen sometimes. So,
And, but you never think that you would go to use the restroom at a place like that, and you walk into the restrooms, and it's like, ha, the clouds part, the sun comes out. It's the most beautiful thing you've
well,
ever
don't they have
seen.
like showers and everything? It's like a full
I
on.
don't know. It's not like a truck stop kind of thing like that.
Okay,
But
okay.
I mean, you can live in the bathrooms. I swear to God, they're amazing. And I was like, and so I can get
Gavin, maybe it's time to sell those like
I you
oil
know I
rights.
No, no, I can't sell those, I can't do that, but
You're talking
but
about beautiful bathrooms at Buc-ee's. I don't know. It sounds like you might need an upgrade.
it is. I was just, and I guess the older I get, the crazier things that really impress me. But I was amazed by this, and I figured I could get a great barbecue sandwich. I could get an ice chest. I could buy 400 different types of beef jerky, and they had beautiful bathrooms. It was wonderful. So if you ever get
Yeah,
to
I
Texas,
guess,
you've got to
yeah.
go to Buc-ee's. You got to go to Buc-ee's if you're here.
Yeah, priorities change as you get older. That is true. I know.
Especially now.
Oh,
I'm not even you're younger than I am, so it's I know that you're not even close to me, so I don't
well,
think.
I mean, but still, you know, I still feel it. I still feel it. Like, oh, I remember when I could like do whatever and have a drink and then I feel fine the next day. Like now it's no, no, I
Nope,
have
nope,
to,
nope, nope, nope. Can't do that
yeah,
anymore.
no, I am not in my 20s.
When you when you get up and you hurt yourself getting out of bed, you know you're getting older when you do that. So,
And that's what's so wild is I feel like I injure myself more doing really stupid, mundane things than I do when
yeah.
I'm actually working out.
Hmm.
Like it makes no sense at all. Like you'll be in the shower or whatever, or you're brushing your teeth and you twist a weird way, and you're like,
Yep,
"Oh, what was that?"
exactly. Why is my shoulder out? Oh, I brushed my teeth earlier. That's why my shoulder's out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then
Mhm.
working out, I could totally work out and I don't injure myself, knock on wood. Um, Maybe it's because you're not thinking about it when you're brushing your teeth.
Well, we
Stupid.
did something crazy. Well, it's been several years ago now, but we got into CrossFit. My wife and I did,
Yeah.
and a friend of mine had she lived in the town over next to us, and she and I had worked together for years back in the bar business, and she was a she became a massage therapist, and her husband owned a gym in the mid cities of DFW, and he trained Ronnie Coleman, who was Mr. Olympia, I don't know how many times, but he
Okay.
trained those guys. And so he was big into it. And so she decided she wanted to open a why did I just forget what I was talking about?
A CrossFit gym.
See, that's the other thing. That's the age thing working again. Yeah, the CrossFit thing.
It's a little senior moment. It's all good.
So she rented a place over here and opened a CrossFit. She opened a box,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
but she told me if I do it over there, she goes, "You got to promise me you'll come join." And I thought, I don't know, that's okay, we'll do it. And so
Yeah.
we went out. I can tell you this: we did it for about a year and a half,
Uh-huh.
and I was in probably the best shape I think I've ever been in my entire life. It was
Yeah.
amazing, and
It's good. It's good because a lot of it is what I call, well, a lot of people call it functional fitness.
mhm,
So it's being able to in what I've done CrossFit too. I'm not part of a gym anymore. I do lots of different things. But what I like about it is that you are learning usually the proper ways to do certain lifts and
yeah,
and not injure yourself, even though it's really hard. You're learning the proper ways of movement. So, and I do think that does help, and especially as you are getting older, the whole thing about like needing to do strength training, and it just
yeah.
gets
Well,
more and more.
it got to the point to where I mean, she had she ended up selling hers, and then we went to a different one. Another group went in with another group, and Tracy ended up getting hurt, and
Mm,
so the doctor told her, he said, "You just need to know." And he told us
hmm.
both, he goes, "Y'all are getting too old for this." And he
CrossFit
did.
is a younger person's work. I mean, honestly, I
It
do think it
is.
is a younger person's workout.
Mhm.
But there's so many like variations of CrossFit that are out there now that
Yeah.
I've been doing over the years that I like it a little bit more because I can modify almost every single move if I have to. But still getting that workout out of it. But yeah,
Yeah, because
I love exercise. I exercise a lot.
my friend did that. She modified a lot of mine because of the MS, and so
Hmm.
there was some things she had to modify for me, but I loved it. I thought it was great, and
Yeah.
then Tracy got hurt, and she quit going, and then I stopped going, and then it all just went to hell from there. So, but it was insane. I couldn't believe just even her. She was even I she just became this. She just got strong. I still tell her she's got.
Powerhouse.
I tell her, I tell her, I said, bring them big monkey hands over here and open this jar for me or something because she got really strong. And one day we were
Yeah.
sitting there, we were out, we were somewhere, and we were looking for something, and I said, "Oh, I know where it is." I said, "It's in the back of the truck out there." And she goes, "I'll get it." And I said, "Okay." So we walked out there, and I said, "You sure? I'll get it." She said, "No, I'll get it." And she stepped on the wheel and climbed over into the back of the truck, and I went, I'm looking at her going, "What the hell did you just do?" She goes, "I'm just getting this." And I said, "No, you just climbed into the, never mind." But yeah, she got really just out of control. She was crazy. But,
Yeah.
and then she got hurt and it just kind of went downhill from there. But,
That is the problem. It's like if you do get injured, it makes it so hard to stay with those kind of workouts. Yeah, but the
now
key is to try not to get injured.
yeah, now I'm going to physical therapy twice a week.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
and now it's like, okay, we're just going to get up here and bend this or bend that. And at the end of the
Yeah.
day, and by the time I'm finished, I'm like going, I'm getting ready to slap somebody if you don't stop moving me around like that. Because it's
Yeah.
nuts. But yeah, it's getting old.
Uh,
Getting old's fun.
Hey, my husband always says it beats the alternative.
True.
If you're not getting old, then you're not alive, right?
That's right.
So,
And any day
like,
above ground's a good day, I'm telling you.
yeah, yeah, that's what we always say to each other. So, no matter
How
what's
long have you
going on.
guys, how long have y'all been married now?
10 years.
Okay.
Been together for almost 14. But I've known him since I was 22 years old. So we were friends for 10 years before we started to date.
Wow, you broke my heart like 12 years ago. It's been a long time, man. It's nuts.
Yeah, yeah, I know. The fact that I've known him for so long. And we were work colleagues too. So yeah, we were work friends, and it wasn't until 10 years into our friendship that we decided to go out.
Well, that's good because you guys understood the business, and my wife was the same way. She had been in the bar business too, and we won't talk much about that. But she was in the bar business too. But so she understood. You know,
Hmm.
it was hard to like have a girlfriend or anything because they didn't understand
Yeah.
that, a girl would say, you start going out with a girl and then they go, well, I want to, become exclusive. I said, no, you can't, I can't do that. And so because I worked weekends, I worked at night. And so my days off are usually like Monday and Tuesday.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I said, you're not going to like it. You're going to hate it. Oh, no, no, this will be, no, no, I'll be fine. This will be great. And about a week, no, I'd say probably 2, 3 weeks into it, it's like, you're never home at night. And we can't do anything on the weekends, and we can't do. And I said we had this discussion already, and it just.
Uh,
But Tracy got it. She understood it, and so
yeah.
and even when moved over and started doing the corporate stuff and all that, um, she had to adjust to me traveling a lot. But other than that,
Yeah.
she still got it. She knew what I was doing. So a lot of
Yeah. I
people
mean,
didn't understand it.
it's important because I've had past relationships too where they just didn't understand the freelance world,
Hmm.
where you could be working consistently back to back to back and you never have time off, and then all of a sudden you're just not working at all, and you're having to save your money and not do anything, and it's just like why. And I've had the comment of like, well, why don't you just go get a job? That
Exactly.
doesn't work.
It
That
doesn't
is not
work.
a
No,
thing. That
I
is
can't
not
have
a
a
thing in this
job.
industry.
What do you do if I get a call and say, "Hey, well, we've got like a 5 day thing over here, or we got a month over here, we got that," and you're like, "Wait a minute,
Can't.
I gotta go back to my job and tell them gotta leave for a
Yeah,
month or
I
something." No, it
know
doesn't
it
work.
doesn't
No.
work. And so it's so yeah, being in a relationship that also he understands that and is in the same business, it
Yeah.
does make it so much easier. And I know that like once we he's always made me a better cinematographer anyway, because he's a major nerd. Geek. He's a geek. He
Okay.
likes to say geek. And so a lot of my ideas when I'm shooting, sometimes I'll bounce them off him and see if he has like a geeky technical way of possibly pulling something off, which then advances my work on set. So we've always had this like shared artistic conversation about our work, and so I know that we make each other better in our profession, which is nice.
Yeah, well,
So
that helps. It does help, and now that we've completely strayed away from all of that now, and I'm I'm a very much I'm a music I'm kind of a music geek in a way that I was I played in bands and stuff. I played the drums, and she would she notices things about me sometimes, and we'll be sitting there watch TV or something, and she goes, why are you thumping your finger on the couch, or why are you doing this, or why are you doing that? And I hear something, a song will pop into my head, and I'll just play along with it, as I'll tap along with it. And she doesn't get it, or if something comes on TV that I go, oh, and I'll hear that song, and I go, yeah, I know that song, or I'll do. And
yeah.
I'm like, and she doesn't quite get that. I get wrapped up, and I'll come in the office, put my headphones on, and and I could be I'll listen to, you know, I'm listening to Pantera one minute, and I'm listening to Zeppelin the next, or something, and she's going, "What are you doing?" And I said, "This is how I relax. This is my relaxation point and time. So just go away and let me do my thing for a minute." And she goes, "Well, I do notice that when you listen to music, your feet move." And I said, "I know, I'm playing along with the song." She goes, "With your feet?" And I said, "Yeah, and my hands
Yeah,
and everything else." And
you're a drummer.
so, yeah,
That's
and
probably
it's just I'm just beating on anything. And it's like, and she goes, "But I notice your feet are moving." And I said, "Yeah, it does. That's what it does, because I haven't, I don't stand up. Well, I can't
yeah.
stand up anyway. And so that was and I think it's been going on for about a year, a little over a year now. But it was very hard for me, because I couldn't go into the other room and play my drums anymore. And
Mm.
she goes, "Well, we need to take those down." And I said, "Leave them alone. Do not touch my drums." I said, it'd be like Step Brothers. Do not touch my drums. I will kill you if you touch my drums. And I can't take them down for the simple fact that you have this thought in your head that you're never going to play those again. And I'm thinking,
Oof, yeah.
I can't take them down. I can't do
Yeah.
it.
No, I still have, I mean, I still play it. I still have my upright piano here, and it's more of a cat perch than anything at this point. But there's no way I'm going to get rid of my piano. There's no way, because
No,
like
it's just
that's how I
that.
grew up. I grew up playing piano, so I can't not have one.
I mean,
Um,
I grew up banging on pots and pans and just anything and everything I could bang on. And, finally, they just finally broke down. And, my, my biological father, when my parents were still together, he would go out and buy me those little drum sets that had like the paper heads on them and stuff. And
oh yeah,
I could destroy those in about an hour. And,
done.
and I would just beat those to death. And so then after my mother remarried my bonus dad one day, he took my mom, and they went out somewhere, and they came home. They bought me a drum set and brought it home.
Wow.
And I thought, oh, this is going to be good. And
Yeah.
he kind of wished he'd never done it, because I played day and night and day and night and just all the time. And that was just my thing. But my wife, she's not musically inclined. And so she doesn't get it. She thinks Motley Crue's a good band. And I said, I love you, but nah, she
What?
was, she was a glam girl. So I
Oh,
can't,
okay.
she was
Okay.
glam.
Yeah.
So
What's
she
she
lived
into
out.
now though? Like what kind of music is she any more modern
Oh,
stuff?
um, she just loves Teddy Swims to death. I think he's a great singer too, but I don't know that
Who?
Teddy Swims.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
and she just loves his music, thinks he's a great singer. He's an excellent singer,
Hmm.
and she likes stuff like that now, but she doesn't really sit around and listen to music like I do.
Mm-hmm.
I could listen to music
Yeah.
all the time. I
Yeah.
even I'll put my earbuds in sometimes, and she doesn't know I have them in, and she'll come in and she'll be
Yeah.
talking to me, and I can't hear her, and then she'll push on my back, and she goes, "What are you doing?" I have to take one out. I said, "What?" And she goes, "Oh, you're listening to music," and she'll leave.
Yeah.
She'll just go back
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
Yeah. I
But
always like to have something playing. I mean, that's usually my state too. I'm not necessarily listening here. I just usually have it playing in my house or um yeah. I mean, I grew up my parents are piano teachers and music teachers, so it's like
well, yeah, you were
being
in the middle of it all the time, you know.
all the time, all the time. And now there's actually a music school in the back of the house that the other tenant, the other tenant in the back has a whole music school. So I'm surrounded by it constantly. And
Wow.
uh, yeah,
So, do you guys? What is y'all? What's your house like? I mean, do you guys? You said you got a tenant in the back. What is?
so it's a whole other guest house that's in the backyard. And
Oh,
he
okay.
runs a music school out of the house, which is similar to what my parents did my whole life. So I'm very much used to that, like students coming in and out, and they take violin and saxophone and everything. So I hear it all
You
back
hear it
there.
all out there. Well,
I
that's
hear it
kind of
all.
cool that you get to hear it
Sometimes
all.
it's great. Sometimes it's really cool if they're like a good student, but some of the new students,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
like oh no, oh no. But whatever,
There,
it's okay.
people used to come to me and say, "I need you to teach me how to DJ," and I went, "I can't." And they go, "Why?" And I said, "I cannot. I can't teach it." They go,
Yeah.
"But you do." And I said, it's different. It's
It's very different,
what
yeah.
I know, what's inside of me. I can't pull out and give to you. I can't show it to you. I can't teach it to you. I just know these things, and
Yeah.
I'm not trying to, I'm not saying, look at me. I'm not trying to be an ass or anything. It's just,
Yeah.
I can't. I wouldn't even know where to start to show you. It's just like,
Because teaching is hard. I don't think people
it is.
realize
No,
how
it's difficult.
difficult to take your own knowledge and then put it in a form that other people can understand, especially if they're beginners. It's really hard. And I saw that with my parents growing up, with them being music teachers my whole life. It's like it's a whole different way of thinking. My sister is actually a college professor too, and it's like watching her teach her classes. It's a whole different way of thinking and deciphering your own knowledge and putting that into a whole different perspective. It's weird. I mean, I like it. Like I that's actually why I was saying that I got an MFA, was because I potentially would want to be a college professor one day in film. So I
Yeah.
would be wanting to teach film and cinematography, but I have taught classes in the past, and it is like, oh man, it destroys your brain. It is
It's
so
hard.
hard. It's so hard. And I try to tell people that, like, it is harder for me to teach an all day class than to go be on set for 12 hours. It's way more difficult to teach
Yeah.
that class.
Because you just it's like I had a kid in our neighborhood at one time, and he asked me if he play my drums, and I said, "Yeah." I said, "You don't mind?" I said, "Well, that's what they're there for. That's what they're built for. They're built to be played. So you sure."
Yeah.
And he goes, but he didn't really know how to play, and so he
Hmm.
thought, "Can you show me some stuff?" And I said, "Yeah, I can show you some things." And but he did pretty good, but then he just kind of lost interest and went a different way. But there were some days when I would just leave him alone. I said, "Just here's what I want you to do. Just play this over and over and over again." I said, "I'm gonna just leave you
Hmm.
alone." But I could walk out, and I'd come back in, and then I hear his timing was off. So I'd walk in and say, "Hey, timing is everything. You got to listen to what's going on."
Yeah.
And but it's just, I could never explain it. I couldn't, get you a metronome and just listen to it and try to work on your time and stuff. But I don't know.
Yeah.
It just, you can't, like you said, it's hard to teach, and
Hmm.
it's hard because they'll do something and you just want to jump up and smack them, and you can't do that. But
No, I know. And
they're,
then try to explain to them why it's wrong or what they need
mhm.
to change with it. Yeah, yeah, it's not easy. I mean, that's where it's like I really respect teachers in
Oh
general,
yeah,
because to
definitely.
make that a full-time job and have to do that every single day, it is a whole different kind of person that can do that. So,
It is, and you guys don't have kids, right?
no.
You guys okay? See, my wife and I don't either. So, and
Mhm.
I don't. I look back. I talked to my biology teacher in the 8th grade. I somehow ran into her on social media one time, and I think it was maybe through Facebook or something. But she was on there, and I sent her a message, and I said, "Do you remember me?" And she said, "Well, of course I remember you." And now this has just been like within the last year or so. And so I did say I just wanted to thank you for putting up with me. And I said I I look back on it now and I think, how did you guys do it? And she said we did it because we loved it. And I
Oh.
said, okay, well, I get that. See, because her husband was a teacher too. He was my physics
Mhm.
teacher, and
Yeah.
he hated me, but I was the guy in the physics class who goes, "Why are you teaching me? I'm never going to use physics, ever use physics in my lifetime. Why?" And then I get into business, and that's all it is nothing but physics. I go, "You hang that up? No, you can't hang that there. You got to move over there and do that." And but
Yeah.
he had since passed away, and I said, I told her, I said, I always wished I could have just thanked him too for what he taught me, and I don't, like I said, I don't do politics and religion, but I will say this, damn it, teachers need to be paid better. That's all I'm going to say.
I agree. I don't know if that's a political thing anyway. Honestly, that is
I,
a
you know,
human thing.
they do. I think they need to be paid better. I,
Yeah,
I as I
I
grew up, and
agree.
I watched and I went back and I thought about the crap that I did in high school, and I thought, you jackass, and so. And I apologized to her, and I said, "I'm really sorry." And she said, "Oh, you don't have to apologize." She said, I said I had a lot worse than you." And I said, "I'm
I
sure
was
you
about
did."
to say, I'm sure you weren't that much of a tyrant. I'm sure there's
I
way worse kids.
Oh, there were, and but still, and if anybody watches it and you're a teacher, thank you, and you deserve more money. That's all I've got to say about that.
Absolutely, I totally agree with that.
I know you are
Yes.
because you're going to be a teacher one of these days too. So you're going
Well,
to have
I
to.
know, but like that's probably way down the road for me, honestly. It's when I don't if I don't feel like doing the whole like grind of looking for my next show, then I could see being a professor being something that would be really appealing to me. Um, just I know that that I would enjoy it because from the classes I have taught in the past, I really do enjoy it a lot,
Yeah.
but I do realize how much work it is. It's like, oh, I gotta be ready for that part of it. It's gonna be a lot of
Yeah,
work.
it's tough, I'm sure, and but we just we don't have kids, and so we've never had to really
Yeah.
deal with the school thing and all of
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. Same, yeah, same here, not having to uh and it's not that we just never really wanted kids. No offense to anyone that does want children, but it was just never something that we were like, oh, we must have children. Like it just didn't it
it
wasn't a
started
priority for us.
well
So
when we got married. When Tracy and I got married, I was almost 40. I think I turned 39 that year that we got
I
married.
mean, same with like David was actually turning 40 the year that we got married. So it's similar. I was
Yeah,
35.
and you're thinking, okay, I'm gonna be 40. Now, if I have a kid now and they're in high school, how old will I be? And then when they graduate, how old will I be? And how old will I be when they go to college? And I thought, and it didn't really, I was thinking about it, and Tracy was kind of, but Tracy she can't have kids. And so that's a whole different story, but she can't have
Yeah.
children. But I told her, and I said, that's no big deal. We can always adopt. There are children out there that need a good home. And I said, there's nothing wrong with that either. And we would talk about that. You would say, yeah, maybe
Yeah.
we'll adopt a child or something. And then I would leave town and then we'd come back and
You get
it would just,
busy.
you get busy, it would be gone.
Yeah.
And so we would talk
Yeah, it
about it.
has to be a priority. Like if you really want kids, it's got to be forefront in your thought process. And it sounds like you guys were similar to how we were. It just wasn't. We were
Yeah.
always thinking about career and travel and just being with each other, and that took precedent over
Well, yeah,
having kids.
because especially with you, and yours gone as long as you are sometimes, and you got to come home and and you just try to, make up for the time that you were gone, and
Yeah.
we just never got to that point. And she goes, "Well, who are we gonna leave everything to?" And I said, "I don't care. We're gonna be gone. What?"
Charity.
I think we've given most of it to the animal shelter, I think, is what we're
There you
doing.
go. See, charity, a
Mhm.
music school. You give it to a music school, upcoming musicians. There's
Yeah,
always a place where your money can go.
always, yeah. My wife and I used to produce the wine festival here in town, and we raised money
Oh, cool.
for the animal shelter and there was a children's, what was it? I forget what it was. It was for help. It was to help children in distressful situations, and
Uh-huh.
so we did that. So it was, if it was animals and children, that's all we dealt with. And
Great.
because people go, "You want to don't no, it's animals and children,"
Yeah, animals to kids.
and I said,
Perfect.
That's it." And so, you know,
And you never know. You could have an asshole kid that you don't want to leave your money to anyway.
no, exactly,
So
exactly.
it's perfect.
A
You just give
bunch
your
of
money
little
away to charity.
money to a bunch of little butt heads, and I'm going to do anything with it.
Yeah,
So,
you never know.
but
Like it almost is, you never know what your kids are going to be like. Like, you
no,
can
you have
raise them
no
as
idea.
best as no. So yeah, I mean
I
honestly, after the years, we've been also grateful that we call ourselves Dinks, dual income, no kids,
That's
and
right.
we've been very happy to be a Dink for many years now.
Yeah.
So it works
I've
for
been,
us.
she and we've been dinking for, God, 22 years now.
Yeah, it's
I can't
nice.
believe we've been married for 22 years.
Wow, that is a long time.
It
Yeah.
is. I gotta, I'm gonna have to trade her in for a younger model, I think. She's
Oh,
all
she
right.
sounds
She's all right.
amazing. Yeah,
She's
I
all
was
right.
gonna say she
Hey,
sounds pretty
look,
amazing.
she
She
puts up
puts
with
up with
me.
you.
Yeah, she puts up
Ah.
with me. And since all this has happened, with me in this damn chair and everything, I have not been a pleasant person to be around.
Oh, you
So
seem very
it's
pleasant to me. I know that I'm only getting this one
yeah.
interaction. Oh,
Oh, I know.
doggies. Those are your dogs, yeah?
Yep. Can you hear them?
Oh, yeah.
No, 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 no.
I thought for sure I was gonna get a cat in here at some point, but they didn't come in. So,
We have a cat too, but she doesn't like me. So the cat likes my wife, and
oh
all the dogs don't like me. So we have three dogs now. We had
wow.
two, and I got a call from my mother one day, and she said, somebody's dumped people come out here in the county, and they dump dogs all the time,
Oh.
and it's horrible. And we have one of our dogs, Jax. He's a rescue, and now she's a chocolate lab, and we used to have a Weimaraner, and
I love Weimaraners.
oh my God, my
They're
wife
so
would she
cute.
and my wife was a cat person too when we got married.
Okay.
We got together. She had a cat. She never had a dog. Well, she had a dog when
Yeah.
she was a kid, but she wasn't a dog person. And I was. I always had dogs. And so when the first dog we rescued was a Siberian Husky,
Okay.
and she fell in love with that dog. And that's all there was to it. And when we lost Shelby and we had to put her down, Tracy just was, she was different. And I thought never seen it before, and she missed that dog. She really truly loved that dog, and
Mm.
so I was out of town somewhere, and I came home, and my mom called me one day. She said, "Hey," and I said, "Yeah." She goes, "I bought Tracy a dog," and I said, "Did you think of maybe calling me and asking me about this before you bought her a dog?"
No.
And so Um, I said, "Okay." I said, "Where's the dog?" And she told me there was a guy that had a farm. He had an apple orchard up north of where we lived, about 30 or 40 miles north of where we lived. And she said, "You've got to go up there and pick up the dog." And I said, "Okay." And so I said, "How am I going to get my wife up there and not tell her what we're doing?" And so she goes, I told my wife, I said, "We got to go up north of Denton." She was, "What's up?" And I said, "Oh," I said, "I've got to go pick up a tractor part because my parents, they had a tractor." And I said, "I got to go pick up a tractor part for my mom." I said,
Uh-huh.
"That's, yeah." And she goes, "Oh, okay." And so we go out here to this, go up to this guy's place, and he's in it's an apple orchard. It's massive. And we pull up, and he comes pulling up on the tractor. And so I said, this is great. This is going to completely throw her off. And then I looked over, and he had the two dog pens over there. And pen had the two bigger houses, and then there was another big house in the other pen. And I guess I think the daddy came out of the house first, of his house first, and he was barking, and she goes, "Oh my God!" She goes, "Look at that dog." And I said, looked, and I said, "That's a Weimaraner." And she
Yeah.
goes, she goes, "He is beautiful." Then the mother came out, the mama dog came out, and so she goes, "Oh my God, look at him!" And then all of a sudden, here all the puppies came out of the other house, and I
Oh
said, and I said,
no.
and I went, "Oh my God, I am so not getting out of here without a dog now." And
Because
she just
Weimaraner puppies are the cutest puppies on the planet.
she lost it, and she went in the pen with them, and they were just everywhere. They were just all over the
Oh,
place. Well, ours, we named her Molly, and Molly picked her out because she came up
yeah.
straight to my wife, and she stayed with my wife wherever she walked. She was right there with her,
Oh,
and so that's the one that she took, and so
yeah.
she's been a dog person ever since. And
Yeah.
God, we've been through. Ugh. We rescued one,
I mean,
that
22
one.
years of marriage and
Yeah,
dogs.
we've had one, two, who else? That was three and four, five, six. I think we're on number seven now
Wow.
or something.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
it's but I liked it and everything. But I always tell people it's the best kind of dog's a no kind of dog. Is go rescue a dog. Just go rescue him.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's going to be a mutt. I've got
I
we
love
you know
mutts. They're the
I got
best.
um I got a call from my mother one day, and she goes, "Somebody's dumped a poor dog out here and the property next to her." And the guy that has the property next to her, he's got some gas wells and stuff on his property, and so, but um, she goes, "There's a poor dog out there, and it's a puppy." And I thought, okay. She goes, "Well, I'm gonna stop and give it some food." And I said, "Okay, if you want to feed it, throw it some food or something." And I'm thinking, and then she goes, "Gavin, I feel horrible about this dog." And I said, "Well, what do you want to do?" She goes, "I'm going to go get him or it." And I said, "Oh boy, here we go."
Ah,
And he is, I think she got him. And then she realized, she goes, "Can he come over to stay at your house?" And I went, "Well, yeah, we'll have to bring him over and introduce him to the other dogs." But
yeah.
um, so we
Very
think,
sneaky of a way to give you a dog.
yeah, oh, it was. And so we got, his name is Murphy.
Oh,
And the reason why he's called Murphy is because the guy that owns the property next to where she found him, his name is Murphy. And so she named him
okay.
after him.
Yeah.
But it's spelled Murfee, so that we had to do
That's
something a little
cute.
different.
I like that.
But
Yeah.
and I just completely forgot what kind of dog he is. But I can tell you this: he's about 10 months old, and he's almost 100 pounds.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
Okay. Oh,
he's a monster. And I thought,
yeah.
Thanks, Mom, appreciate that."
A
But
lot of food and a lot of poop to clean up.
he loves my wife to
Oh,
no end. He took to her, and she's like all the other dogs though. Our other dogs like my wife. They don't.
yeah.
I'm the one that has to say, "No, you can't do that, and don't be bad," and yada yada. And she's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
come here and let me love on you and let me do all
Yep.
this."
Yep.
And I'm gonna go,
Mhm.
"Stop doing that. You're ruining those dogs."
Yeah, that's the nature of I'm the same way. I can't get mad at like my cat's like, "Oh, you're so bad. Such a
Yeah, you're
bad
so
kitty."
yeah. And your husband's going, I know.
No, I think
I
he
know.
kind of gets it. He's a sucker. He's a sucker for cats too, and dogs. Actually, we love them both, but for our lifestyle, cats are just a little bit easier for us. So
We had a we have feral cats because everybody around us has property, and some of
yeah.
our neighbors have livestock. Like one of my neighbors, he has horses and cows, and they've got barns.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
And
you need the barn cat.
yeah, they like the barn cats because the barn cats keep the mouse. They're good mousers, and they do all that.
Yep.
And we had we had one that used to come over here, and he was a male, and he enjoyed all the ladies in the neighborhood because we had kitties everywhere all the time.
Oh no.
And so we we had one female that she came over to the house, and the cats like to get up underneath the hood, get up in the on the engines of your car because if you
Yeah.
came home and it's warm in there,
Warm,
especially when
right.
it's cold. And so I would have to teach my wife. I said, before you go start your car, you open your hood and make sure there's
Yeah.
nobody in there, because
Yep.
I am almost
Mm-hmm.
guaranteed there was a cat in there.
Oh, yep. Yeah,
And
that is a
so
thing. It's so scary. They do
we
that.
we caught those kittens and we got rid of all those, and then we trapped her and had her fixed.
Mm-hmm.
And she hung around the house. She started feeding her and she stayed around the house.
Oh.
Well then Mr. Stud shows up, Mr. Tomcat, who had been everywhere, and we trapped him and we took him and got him fixed.
Oh, good. I was about to say
But
that's the one you got to get fixed.
it took a while because he would come and we'd put food out and he would come get food, and if we came out, he'd run off.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I would chase him off because I said, those are for the other cats, not you. I don't know who you are. He's the new one, so.
yeah.
And he would not come around, but he was part Siamese, and I thought,
Okay.
oh, but he'd been through hell and back. His tail was gone, part of his ear was gone.
Oh,
He was a mess.
yeah.
And so one day we're sitting out on the front porch, and my wife's sitting there on the porch itself. I'm sitting in a chair, and he just comes up to her and he lays down beside her.
No.
And he'd never gotten close to us ever before, and he lay down beside her,
Yeah.
and she started scratching him, and he just rolled over and he was scratching his belly, and she was just, and he just became, and we called him Roddy, and he was. Then all of a sudden he would come in the house, and I was like,
He's your
Roddy's in
cat
the
now.
house. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and the dogs like, she goes, don't let the dogs come. I said, dogs, and one of my dogs kind of lunged at him, and he turned around, and smacked her in the head.
Yeah.
And she squealed and
Gotta
went
be
the other
more
way,
worried
and
about the dogs.
yeah, exactly. And I tell you what, he was a tough cat. And
Yeah.
next thing I know, I would be in bed at night, and I'd wake up, and he'd be sleeping there next to me, and I fell in love with that cat. I don't know what
Yeah.
it was. I loved that cat.
It's like
And
he
then
finally retired from the street life and he's like, okay, it's time for me to
yeah,
adopt
and
some people.
he was he just loved to chill at the house, and he would come and go as he pleased, but he would always come at the house at night and sleep, but and then he just one day he just disappeared,
Oh,
and he was
yeah.
gone. So
Yeah.
we got another
You
cat.
were you were his retirement.
But he was a great cat, and
Yeah.
I hated it. He just disappeared. That just killed me. So
Yeah.
we got another cat, and she doesn't have a tail either.
What's up with you
We
and
got
cats and no tails?
I don't know. We got that cat, and she was feral. A friend of
Yeah.
ours she had a feral cat. She kept having kittens, and I said, you need to get that cat fixed or something, because and so she had kittens, and she would get them and try to love on them, and try to give them some human contact so she could get rid of them. And we got one of them, and we named him Milo. I mean, excuse me, we named him Milo. And so Milo was just this little tiny cat, so tiny. And I was like, wow. And so as he got older, one day my wife goes, something wrong with Milo. That's what he means. Said, I don't know. He's in there making noise and stuff. So I went in there and I'm looking at Milo, and I'm kind of checking. I'm looking. I'm like, Trace? And she said, yeah. I said, this isn't a Milo.
Oh no.
And I said, it's a girl and she's in heat.
Oh
And I
no.
thought,
Oh
oh God.
no.
So I said, keep her locked up. So
Yeah.
Milo became Miley.
Yeah.
and she is she's just as she's still little. She's gonna be 3 here in a couple days, but she's
Yeah.
still little. She's a little cat,
Yeah.
but she's something else. But she does not like me. Tracy goes, "That's your cat." And I said, "That cat does not like me." I'll come up to her, and if she's laying down, she'll let me scratch on her. But if she's
Yeah.
standing up, I can't. She won't let me touch her. I
Yeah.
won't can't get near. And I just I said, "I've never been in a household with animals that don't like me for some weird reason. I don't, that
Yeah.
that,
Well, they
that
choose. It's weird how they
I
decide.
know."
You just never know. Like with our boy cat who's 17, he's definitely like a mama's boy. But then our new kitty who's at 5 loves David. Like she loves me too, but just loves David. So it's like, yeah, you just never know.
You never
You
know.
never know.
Well, it's
Um,
like that with the Weimaraners. I can tell you something about a Weimaraner. They're a very one-sided dog. They're loyal to one person.
yeah.
Now she tolerated me. She that loved that dog to death, and she tolerated me. But that was my wife's dog, and it was funny.
Yeah.
I found this out the weird way. I was we were sitting on the couch one night doing something, and the commercial came on or something, and I said, "Oh, look at that girl." And my wife leans over and she kind of smacks me right here. And I said, "Hey." And so I kind of leaned over and I kind of smacked her on the arm. I said, "Knock it off." Well, Molly was asleep on the floor in front of the coffee table. We were on the couch and she was on the other side of the coffee table. I reached over and I bumped my wife's arm, and Molly sat up and she looked over at me, and then she laid back down. And so we're messing around, and my wife, she pushed me or something. I did something. She pushed me, so I pushed her back. Well,
Yeah.
Molly sat back up again.
Oh, she's like, hey, you stop touching mom.
And I said, "Tracy," I said, "I think we're onto something." And she goes, "What's that?" And I said, "Watch this." And I said, "Molly," and she sat up, and I reared back and I said, "I'm going to hit the mama." And
Oh,
she came over the coffee table and got in between us.
oh, yeah.
She sat in between us and she looked at me like, "No, you're not."
Don't you dare. Yeah, no, they're
And
very protective. Yeah.
she laid down there between us, and I said, "Yep." I said, "That's your dog."
Yeah, she's
And
no.
you did not get around. Now she was a great dog. She loved everybody, but you did not get around my
Yeah.
wife with any bad intentions because she would not have
Very
any part
protective.
of it.
Oh,
It was nuts.
sweet though. Sweet.
So when do you go back out to to England again?
Well, I'm not sure yet. They've talked about the spring for season 5, but it's not official like when we would start back. So
Mhm.
in the meantime, I'm trying to land something else between now and the spring. So ideally another show or something. But just trying to find what that is right now.
You know what? I turned into this big film geek a while ago. I think when Yellowstone came out, and I didn't watch it for a long time because I was like, I don't want to get into that. But then I started watching it and I got hooked. I got sucked into it. I got hooked. But I got more hooked on watching all the B-roll stuff than I did watching the actual show because it was some of the most amazing footage that they would take. And
Mhm.
then I saw The Americas. I started watching that. And then I was like, "Oh my God, this is some of the most amazing footage I've ever seen." And then I watched the little documentary thing they did on it, and they talked about it. And I think they said it took almost 5 years to do that, to film
I'm
all
not
of that.
sure.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, it was because I mean they were in the U.S., they went to Canada,
Mhm.
South America, Central
Yeah.
America,
I mean, that
everything.
would make sense. That would take for 5 years to do something like that. I mean, that makes
It it
sense.
it it did, and it was but it was amazing, and then they showed it, and they showed, like, there was an eagle in a tree, and she had her egg had hatched, and with these eagles, the father goes out and gets the food, and mama stays with the baby,
Mhm.
and so they were trying to get more footage of the baby, and they weren't getting what they wanted. These women, both of these women, these camera operators, were both females, and they were sitting up in this tree that was they were about 100 feet in the air. They had to have been 100 feet in the air on
Yeah.
these platforms. And they said they were out there sometimes filming for 12 hours.
Oh my gosh, it's a
And
whole other beast
I
doing that
thought
kind of work.
it was insane. And I
Yeah.
saw what they did, and I thought, and I started thinking about it. I said, how did they get that shot? And I said, that one had to have been hard. And that had been, and and I know that drone work has come into play a lot now, I think, in the film industry. Tell me if I'm wrong or not, but
Oh yeah,
I think,
no, we use it a
yeah,
lot. Yeah.
I thought so. But and then when I started seeing what these people were doing to get these shots, and they wait
Hmm.
out in these marshes and just getting, oh, and I thought, man, that's dedication right there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that
And
is
I
a
was,
whole other beast. To do nature videography, photography is like a whole other beast that
what was it hard
honestly
for
I've
you?
never even been into. And I've never done it and I don't plan on doing it.
But
So
you guys didn't have to do all that when you were doing like Swamp People and Naked and Afraid and all that. You didn't get into all that stuff, or you? I'm sorry, I should have said that when you're drinking and I'm
didn't do swamp people and not negative right now.
I actually,
Luckily,
I have a friend down in New Orleans that is a camera operator. He was always on my crew if he was available. He did Swamp People
oh my
for a
gosh.
while, but all he did was
No.
he did all the B-roll stuff. That's all he did.
And
But
that's the kind of the best way to do it. If you're going to work in that world, doing the B-roll and the beauty roll is really nice. Like that can be a really fun job. But like straight up reality where you're handheld following characters for 12 hours every day, like that is just, ooh, that's a whole other thing. I'm happy to be in the narrative world of getting a script and shooting what is written.
and I'm gonna have to admit, I'm sorry, but I know nothing about the show that you're working on.
Oh,
What?
Bridgerton?
Yeah, what is it about? I know it's set. I know it's set kind of in the UK kind of thing, but what is exactly is it about? I didn't do my homework. I apologize. Should have done my homework
It's
before.
okay, but I think a lot of people that watch your show are probably gonna know what it is. Um, it's like the most popular Netflix show ever. That's
Really?
okay. Yeah.
I told a friend of mine because I think I asked you this. I told a friend of mine you were coming on. And I said, he goes, "What's she doing?" I said, "Well, she's a director of photography," and I said, "She's working on some series on Netflix." And I said, but I
Yeah.
cannot remember what it is. I said, I know it's set in England. He goes, is it Bridgerton? And I went, I think it is, maybe. And
That's
he
it.
goes, and
Yeah.
that's when I asked you, was that right? And he
Yeah.
knew it. So I,
Yeah. Well, okay, so it's based on books. The Bridgerton book series is 8 books, and it takes place in the early 1800s in it's kind of a fantastical version of the Regency era. They've written it in a way where it's not completely historically accurate, but it gives it a little bit, better storytelling aspects of it. But it follows each of the Bridgerton children. So there's 8 children and basically them falling in love. So it's like romance novel on steroids and on TV. Like that is kind of how it is.
okay.
Um, and it has a modern approach to it. So like not everything is completely period appropriate. The costuming is really like extravagant and using materials that didn't exist in the 1800s. So it's really about the artistry of all the framing of it. Like people like to watch it honestly because of the wigs, the costumes, the production design. Like there's a lot of about that people are drawn to.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it takes place early 1800s and we've done 4 seasons so far. I've only done 2 seasons, but there's 4 seasons that are 3 seasons that are out currently. The fourth season is supposed to be coming out early 2026, supposedly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how long did it take, how long does it take take them to do a series?
For that show, it takes us about really like 9 months of shooting for
Wow.
8 episodes. So like each episode is about 20 days of shooting, maybe a little bit more for each
Wow.
each hour long episode is about 20 days of shooting. So, yeah. And then we have a whole second unit that's full time shooting that B-roll that you're kind of talking about. But
Hmm. Yep.
obviously, it's staged B-roll with like horse carriages and background people and everything. But so we have a full-time second unit that's always going, getting that additional content that we need. So it's a big undertaking. It's a lot. There's a
Wow.
lot of
It
moving
sounds like
parts with that show. Yeah.
it's like the guy that I just again I'm having another one of those old guy moments where I can't remember his name, but it's Taylor Sheridan, the guy that wrote Yellowstone.
Mm-hmm.
Um, his ranch, he just lives about 30 miles from where we are. He's got a
Mm-hmm.
huge ranch out there, and
Okay.
a friend of mine lives out. He lives in Weatherford, Texas, is where he is. And my friend lives out there, and I asked him, I said, "You ever see him out?" And he goes, "No, God, no, you won't see him out and about." He goes, "He lives out there. He built a studio out there on his property. He lives out there. Um, he says basically, and I think it was 1823 was the
Yeah.
offshoot of that one. They shot
Yeah.
almost all of that in Weatherford." And I said, "Well, what about all the river scenes?" And he goes, "Ah, it was the Brazos. They were just crossing the Brazos. One port, they moved down a little further across in another section and stuff." He said, "But
Yeah.
they shot a lot of it at Fort Worth too. 'Cause a friend of mine's got a bar up there, and they had to redo some of the fronts of the bars and stuff to make it look old and
Mm-hmm.
everything. But yeah, I think all of it was pretty much shot over here.
Yeah. 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 I mean,
Now,
well, Texas has a pretty big film scene for the most part. So depending on where, I know Austin for sure does.
Austin, Austin,
They do have a
Austin,
pretty big
and
film market.
they do. I think I don't
I mean,
know.
it's still not like again, not anywhere is big right now. So
No. I know
it's
that here up in the DFW area, Amazon had built this huge distribution center up here,
mhm.
and they just got out, they left. I don't
Hmm.
know if it was a distribution center, I don't know what it was, if they're warehousing stuff, or it was distribution, whatever it was, but it's a massive place they built.
Yeah.
They're building one where I live right now over on the other side of town. It's 1.3 million square feet.
Oh my gosh.
It's just massive. And I
I mean, I
went by
guess
there.
you need that. Everyone buys everything off Amazon.
I
So you
know, and
need that.
we went by there the other day, and I said, last time I saw it, they were just grading the ground. They were just cutting
Yeah.
the ground and starting getting it. We found out what it was, and then we went over there, and it was like, oh my God, and it was just buildings everywhere. And I said, well, I guess when you got that kind of money, you could throw that out there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they had one not far north of us, and they bailed on that building. Well, they turned that into a studio, a movie studio. And so they were doing stuff there for a while, but
Yeah.
then it kind of got quiet around here because,
Hmm.
you know, uh, and I know I had a lot of friends, they were shooting a lot of stuff in New Orleans, and I think it's kind of quieted down there too. But
Hmm. It's gotten
I,
quiet kind of everywhere.
like you said, it's kind of gotten quiet everywhere. And
Yeah.
and correct me if I'm wrong, but I've noticed, or I'm maybe it's just I don't know if I'm getting old or whatever it is. I get crotchety sometimes, I guess, but yeah. But they watching like just like a regular show on TV, like watching a comedy or something, 30-minute comedy or something. It doesn't seem like they're as long as they used to be. It,
Well, it depends on the platform, I guess. So, like on a streaming platform, there's no time limit to like what the show needs to be because you're not adhering to network restrictions of like
no,
commercial breaks and things like that.
yeah,
So they could produce a 20-minute episode on Netflix or HBO because it doesn't matter. Like if they want this script to be 20 pages, then so be it. It could be 20 pages.
yeah.
So it
But
just depends on the
this is all
show.
network. This is all network stuff though, and it just seems like it's just
Hmm.
everything's gotten really. It's gotten weird. But like you
I
said,
don't know.
it's just different, and and that's not you're not kind of in that world anyway. You're on the other side of the planet almost, when you're ever doing stuff for Netflix and things like that. But it just seems like it's network TV's just gotten really weird
Well,
lately.
there is this one thing, and we were literally just talking about this yesterday, how there's a lot of shows that have started to dumb down the content because they are under the assumption that people are on their phones while they're watching the show. So to make it too complicated for them to understand, they've dumbed it down. And we're like, but is this a self-fulfilling prophecy that's happening here? Are they dumbing it down because people are on their phones, or are people going on their phones because they're dumbing it down and they're getting bored with the content that they're watching? So it's like but you can see it. You can see how they're starting to like another thing that you'll notice. There's some shows where before in cinematic language, you try to show it, not say it. That's like a term that we say. Like you want to
Mhm.
show it visually, like tell the story visually. Whereas now you see everything written out in dialogue. Like, oh, I have found this Bose headset and appears to be empty right now. It's like, you don't need to say that out loud if you're actually showing it on camera, but they've started writing dialogue in this way where they're saying it and showing it because they know that someone's going to be watching the show, being on their phone, and they need to be able to hear about the Bose case being empty. So it's weird the way some shows are written now, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, they've dumbed it down for the audience because they're on their phone." So it's like, please put your phone away if you actually are interested in the show
I,
and
you
watch
know,
it. And I was just
and
saying that in general, like, because otherwise TV is going to keep on getting dumber and dumber and dumber because we
and
know people are on their phones.
it really, and that analogy is so perfect. I mean, you're so on the mark with that because I'm guilty of that. My wife can be watching TV and may be something on I'm just not really interested in. I'll be on my phone doing something. I may be watching a video on my phone or I'm, checking emails or something. And she goes, "Why are you on the phone?" It's like, I'm sorry.
Well, if you're not interested, but if it's like her show and she's also on the phone,
No.
that's where the problem
Yeah,
starts to
no,
happen.
she doesn't do that.
Like,
She does not
yeah,
do
that's
that.
what, and I'm this, I like to, if I know I want to watch a show, I put my phone away and I watch the show
Yeah.
because that's obviously I want to embrace the artistry that these creators have made. But like most people watching TV now, a lot of people aren't doing that anymore. They'll watch their favorite show but still be on Instagram scrolling. And it's like, well, how do you ever expect a filmmaker to get to you if you're not actually paying attention to the content? So it's tricky. And this is also where it's like there's a shift in filmmaking where some shows are getting stupid because they're having to dumb it down because of our us trying to have split attention with our phones and watching the content. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I That's where it's like I get so excited when I see really smart, intelligent shows that are we just binged Andor, like all of it. And that was definitely my favorite show of the year. And it's intelligent writing, it's smart filmmaking at its finest, but it is not a show that you can sit there and watch while you're on your phone. You just can't.
Yeah.
I personally like that kind of content for myself.
That's
Sounds like you do too. Like
that
if you're getting
that
bored watching something, then it's probably because you need to find something that's a little bit more
that makes
engaging.
sense. Well, I can tell you this. I got wrapped up in Yellowstone, and everybody goes,
Which
"Oh,
is a great
but
show. That's a
and
great
I
show, yeah.
once I got hooked, I was and there were times when she and I then I finally got her involved in it, and then she started watching it because she goes, "I don't want to watch some Western show," and I was like, "No, it's not like that. You have
Yeah,
to."
way more than that. Yeah.
And I'm trying to explain to her, "Oh my God, the footage is beautiful," and this, and she goes, I don't want to watch it." But then she started watching it, and she got hooked, and it, but that was one that we could sit and we could binge that one. We could watch, we could watch that we'd watch
Yeah.
5 or 6 episodes in a row and just be happy as a clam.
Mhm.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
then there's some shows. I've been getting into watching documentaries more than anything else.
Yeah.
I've just really found some stuff that I really like. I thought was real interesting, and so
Mhm.
I'm on Netflix or I'm on, I'll be on crime or something, trying to find just documentary stuff that,
Yeah. I mean, documentaries have gotten so good these days too. The way that they're told is way more narrative and cinematic than it used to be in the past. So I get it. I understand why you're getting drawn to documentaries.
yeah, I had a friend of mine that he was on the show. He writes music and stuff. He's a musician, phenomenal musician. Guy can play anything. I hate him. He can just play anything. And he had one of his songs get picked up, and they put him on a documentary. It was I can't think of the guy's name. It's Rare Guitars out in L.A. But they picked up one of his songs and used that on that documentary. And
Hmm.
so we talked a lot about that, and it was, but I just got hooked on documentaries, and it just kind of makes more sense.
Yeah.
There's nothing stupid in them. It's just you're just watching something that has actually happened before.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. Um,
Because the
yeah.
biggest oxymoron that I've ever heard or seen is called reality TV. There is no such thing, so knock it off.
Well, and
That
actually that's kind of died too with YouTube culture. Like there's not
yeah.
as much reality being produced anymore because you can kind of find any reality that you want through YouTube.
Oh yeah,
So there,
I'm a YouTube junkie. I'm a total
yeah,
YouTube junkie. Of course,
yeah,
my podcast is on YouTube, so and
yeah,
but I'm a junkie when it comes to YouTube. I can be laying in
yeah,
bed and I'll pull YouTube up on my TV and I'll just start
yeah.
watching stuff
Well,
on.
and
And
that's another reason why there's such a shift in the industry is because there's so much content that people are watching through YouTube. So I think people are really just trying to figure out what is next when most people are watching their entertainment through YouTube.
so, what's your take on the movie theater situation?
Um,
Is that a dying
I don't
breed?
know because at least where we are, it's not. Like our AMC in Burbank is packed all the time. Actually,
Uh,
it's not even just that. We have three AMC theaters in Burbank and they are packed all the time. So I don't see it, but I think it's also because I live in Burbank, which is technically Hollywood. And people love going to the movies here. They love it. And my husband and I still love going to the movies. So other places, maybe, but at least here people still very much go to the theater.
For us here, it's no, I don't see it happening a lot. I mean, if a movie comes out that I want to see, I'll just sit and wait a few weeks, and I can watch it on, I can stream it on TV.
Well, how far do you have to go to get to the theater?
10 minutes.
But that might be too much, honestly. Like we live a mile from our AMC, which is so easy. And we also have like the whole membership thing that we just pay monthly for, so we can go to a movie at 3 times a week if we wanted to.
Oh,
So
okay,
it's
that's cool.
yeah. So it's like that makes it so much easier. And we'll go see just movies that we're like, do we really want to see this? And we're like, let's go anyway. It'll be fun. Because we just like the experience of it, of going into the darkened, cold theater, having our popcorn. It's that whole thing. It's more of an experience than just being at home.
Ladies and gentlemen, she's a film geek. Just stick with her. She's okay. She's like,
I love the popcorn. Actually, for me, it's usually the cheese sticks and a glass of wine. So
oh, it's one of those. Okay.
that's my movie going experience. So yeah, so it is a little bit more about the experience and yeah, because yeah, of course we could watch it here at home, but we like to go to the movie quite a bit.
I
Yeah.
yeah, I just we haven't been to a theater in so long. It's been since way before COVID, and I was just um I used to like going to the movies if you sat in there and you kept your mouth shut and you stayed off your phone and you did all this stuff, and it never failed that you'd be sitting there watching a movie and you see this light coming from somewhere, and some knucklehead in front of you's texting somebody on his phone,
Yeah.
and I've literally had to. There's this kid. I don't know how old he was. He was sitting there, and he's on his phone. And he's tapping, and that light shot. And so I just kicked the back of his chair. I just kicked the hell out of it. And he goes, "What's your problem, man?" I said, "Get off your damn phone. I'm trying to watch a movie." And he goes, and my wife's going, "Quit, quit, quit, quit." And I said, "I got this." And I said, "You're not going." I said, "So sit down and knock it off." And he did. He quit, but. it's sad that you have to do that though. That you have
Yeah,
to
I
go
don't
home
have that
for
much of
that.
an experience here. I don't know what it might be because we're in Hollywood, honestly. So I feel like people who go to the movies here are really actually going to watch the movie and they do put their phones away. Not for every movie. Like there has been a couple of times where it's like, but most of the time, for all the movies that my husband and I go to, for the most part, people are pretty respectful of the other audience members, for the
Well,
most part.
there are theaters here, the Alamo theaters.
Oh, I love the Alamo Draft House. That's a very
Yeah,
cool theater. Yeah.
yes, those are all over around here, and
Hmm.
here, like down in Austin, they've got a recording of the old governor of the state, and I cannot remember her name. I'm having an old guy moment again, and they played it after before every movie, and she would say, "Look, turn off your phones or turn your phones down, put them away. If you get caught using your phone, you'll be escorted out of the building."
Ooh.
And that's
I
where
mean,
and that's
well,
where it
because that makes
stayed.
sense. Because Alamo is very much about like the artistry of the cinema. Like I know that about that theater, so that makes sense. Yeah,
And
you
and and they did, and
good for them.
they would throw you out if you got on your phone. They would throw you out. And I thought, now it's pretty sad you have to do that, but they were doing it. And
Because
it's
people
like
are addicted to their phones. It
they
goes back
are.
to that again. Everyone is addicted to their phones. Like, ugh, we just, I don't know, we just have to figure out a way to like check out sometimes and not have our phones in
Well,
our faces constantly. So,
let's burn TikTok to the ground too. Let's do about it.
I'm not even on
Uh,
TikTok. I'm not on
I
TikTok.
I did it. I had no interest in it, but I started reading about it, and I looked, and you can use your phone and record stuff on TikTok, and it just you could do different things when you
Hmm.
couldn't do it on Facebook. And so I said, okay.
Yeah.
And I was doing recordings in my wife's store at when she had it, and or
Yeah.
I'll do it in the shop and in her shop,
Hmm.
and I'll put it up on her page and say, hey, look, this is what we're
Hmm.
doing, this is what we do, and everything.
Yeah.
And because my
I mean, it
wife,
is a good marketing platform. It is good for that. I
well,
personally don't need it for what I do, but yeah,
this is what
if you're
my wife does.
oh, okay. So embroidery?
Yeah, we do embroidery screen for me too.
Oh.
And so she that's why she did that. But it's I don't know.
Well,
I
and
think
especially still doing that, right? Because I feel like we might need to hire you or something.
you know how to
So
get a hold of me. You have my number.
I do, yeah.
You know how to get a hold of me, and I
Uh,
will be. We ship too. So remember that,
yeah,
ladies and gentlemen. We do ship Tag Custom
yeah.
Products.
Yeah, we for my husband's company, he often needs personalized swag and stuff. So I will reach out to you guys.
Yeah, please do. Always,
Yeah.
always holler at me. I'm always trying to drum up business on here, so why not? Take advantage of everything I can. Everybody goes, "How much money are you making your podcast?" I said, "You make money at these things? I didn't know that. Tell me anything about
No,
that. I'm
no.
making money on this." I like all these people go, "Come on, I'll teach you how to run a podcast, and you can be making six figures a year." And I'm like
Oh
going,
my gosh.
"What?
No.
No, you're not."
That's so cute.
Yeah, I was gonna. My cousin, uh, my cousin Leo, he worked for Motorola for years. He was in radio years ago. When he was in high school, he was in radio, and he was at a radio station down in the valley in Texas, and then he went to work for Motorola and did that for 20. Then he got laid off, and so then he went back into doing voiceover stuff. And he and I were talking about it, and I said, "Yeah, I think." He goes, "I think I'm going to try to maybe do some voiceover stuff or whatever." And he goes, "You need to do a podcast, is what you need to do." And I said, I hadn't even really thought about it and hadn't even really looked much into it. And so I started looking at it and I went, well, this doesn't seem too difficult. All I got to do is con people into coming on. And I put it out. I put it out that I was going to start a podcast. Everybody goes, I want to be on it. I want to be on it. And
Yeah.
I was like, okay. And so I think this one, with what you and I are doing, I think this is number 14. This is
Nice. Okay.
this is either 13 or 14, I think.
Yeah.
I don't remember, but yeah, it's and I've still got a lot of friends I haven't even brought on yet. I mean, I got friends that play in bands, and I got, friends that do this, do that. I mean, you're in the
Hmm.
film industry, and so I just tap all these friends of mine that are doing different things, and they come on and we just talk about whatever. So,
Yeah.
but I didn't do this to make money. I did this because I'm at home, I don't go anywhere, and I'm bored, and so I started doing this, and it gives me a chance to see people I haven't seen in forever, like
See
you. You,
people still being creative. You're still, yeah,
yep.
you're still doing what
Well,
you did in
I
the
don't know
past.
about the creative part, but
It's
other than that,
creative. This is
you know.
creative.
I mean, this place is a mess right now. We're completely redoing this room, and
Well, you have
it's
a
a
perfect
it's
amount of
complete.
blur, so it's totally fine.
It's it's a mess right now. I haven't got the signs not up yet. And there's a huge sign that goes back behind me that lights up. It's got my logo
Oh,
on
that's
it, and it's
cool. That's
it's gonna
great.
it's gonna be neat when it's done.
Yeah.
But we just haven't finished it yet. So
Yeah.
I'm working on. I'll get there eventually. So
You will.
well, my God, we've been on a while.
I know. I know, and I do have to
Hey,
go soon because I have a lunch with someone.
I know. Hey, look. I'm not going to keep any longer. I just wanted to say thank you, first of all, for coming on because this was important. This one was important. I told my wife this, and I told Tracy, I said, I'm going to have Alicia on. And you didn't know this, but you were my road wife or my road girlfriend. According to my
I
wife,
didn't see you that much. Like
I know, but
what?
according to my wife, I had a girlfriend in every town that I went to.
So I
And
was your damn girlfriend.
you were my damn girlfriend. And so I'd go, she goes, so what's coming up? I said, well, NAM's coming up. Well, is Alicia going to be there shooting? And I said, well, of course she's going to be there. And I said, she goes, you're such a whore. And I was like, no, but that's
Okay.
just, that was just her. But
Oh my gosh.
it
That's
was so
funny.
good. We have not talked and seen each other in so long. It was so good just to see you and
Yeah.
talk to you. And
Yeah.
congratulations on your marriage. I'm so glad that's going well for you, and work is going good. And
Yeah.
and it's Bridgerton, correct?
Bridgerton, yes.
I gotta start doing the homework more.
Okay.
And what and your official title on Bridgerton is, what are
Director of
you?
photography.
You are the director of photography for that one. Okay.
I alternate with the other we have two DPs on the show. So Jeff Jur, who's been on since season one, and I'm the other one.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, people, I do know folks out there that do stuff important like this. So just so y'all know that. So, but I no, really, I wish you all the best with Bridgerton and everything else, and we will stay in touch. You can tell your husband if he needs anything, clothes, hats, whatever. Just holler at me.
Absolutely.
We'll get you taken care of. We can do that.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
you'll be getting your hat in the mail too pretty soon. As soon as the new ones just came in, I got to get them all done. She's got so much work going on right now. And she goes, I can't do your hats right now. And I said, whatever. Actually, I actually have one of these. I think I've got a couple of these left. I'll be sending you one of these, I think.
Okay, cool. No, I look
You'll get
forward to
you'll get
it.
one of these. I'll mail it to you. Oh, I'm
Thank
not
you.
gonna mail it to you. I'm waiting for my stickers to come in. So stickers come in and you get a sticker too.
All
Look
good.
at me.
Thank you.
I'm just Mr. Pro Podcast over here. Look at me go.
Yeah. It's good.
Whatever.
No.
But you take care of yourself. Take care of your husband. Tell your husband, take care of you. You guys see me. You guys are doing great, and I'm really happy for you. And please stay in touch. And and you can't. I taught you so much. You cannot forget me.
I won't.
You
No, definitely not.
you've learned so much from me. What the hell it is, I don't know, but you learned something. So,
Something.
but again, guys, this is one of my dear friends, Alicia Robbins. Thank you so very much for coming on.
Thank you.
And
Thank you
I
for having
want
me.
you, oh, hey, anytime, anytime you want to come on, you just holler at me and we'll do it. So you got something you want to plug or whatever, you just come right on. You can bring your husband next time. We'll talk to him about crazy stuff. He's probably at work now, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, yeah,
Is he?
he's in his workshop.
Is he? Good.
Yep.
So, all right. Well, that's it. We've hit the witching hour. Wow, we're at Man, almost 2 hours. Thank you so very much for taking the time to do this. I
Thank
appreciate it.
you.
You're just as lovely as ever. Much love to you and your husband. You guys stay well, stay out of trouble, and we'll stay in touch and we'll do it again.
Yeah, thank you.
Again, my friend, my crush, Alicia Robbins, ladies and
Ah!
gentlemen. I'm such a bad host, aren't I? I gotta mess with you and everything. So
I expected that though, so
of course you did. So
that's
you
funny.
guys take care. Thanks for coming along, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks for joining Epic Stage Journeys and then some. Stay well, and we'll see you down the road.